Did you know that a good new feature announcement can help you increase user engagement while also helping you decrease user churn? Well, you know now. This is Sarah from User Guiding, and today we're talking about the what, why, and how of new feature announcements. Let's get right into it. So let's start off with what a new feature announcement is. A new feature announcement is a way of letting your active, inactive, churned, potential users of the changes you have made in your product, especially new features. And it is also a part of the new feature onboarding cycle, which consists of obviously new feature announcement, new feature training, and new feature survey. These three can also come together depending on the product type, but we're going to talk about that later. The second question is why you should be using new feature announcements the right way. Now, what do I mean by right way? There are many reasons to start using new feature announcement types and UX patterns, but why should we do it the right way? Here's 3 solid reasons why. Number 1 reason is higher product adoption. If you promote a new feature, people are obviously going to be engaging with it a lot more than, well, if you didn't. So if you promote your features in an engaging way on top of that, they're going to be engaging with the feature even more, thus you will be getting a lot more product adoption. Number 2 is decreased user frustration. So if you promote your new feature in a specific way that might tick off your users, they might end up avoiding that new feature or even worse, turning away. So what you want to do is use a very engaging tone and style to make sure that your users, first of all, aren't frustrated with your feature announcement and then can get to engage with it. And the third reason why you should be doing new feature announcements the right way is engage with inactive users. Now, if you were to try to engage with inactive users in app, that obviously wouldn't work. They don't come to your app. That's why they're inactive users. To do it in the right way, you should be doing multi-channel announcements. And thus getting to engage with your inactive users, and this can be applied to a lot of other scenarios and new feature announcements for churned users, for potential users. You might want to use social media channels for potential users, etc. But I haven't talked about the right way, this, right way, that. Let's talk about what the right way is. So what is the right way of doing new feature product announcements? How can you start doing it the right way? Obviously, not all products are the same. The brand voices, the products itself, the audiences, the size, everything is different, but there are some strategies that can apply to all businesses, all products, and here's just the 3 of them. Number 1 is using the right type of in-app UX patterns. If you have a product with many active users, probably this is one of the most important steps for you, but you can't just be going with anything, any UX pattern. So let me just picture it in an example for you. Phrase announces its new feature in a model that actually does the onboarding all together. It has the announcement, it has the education, it has a little tiny feedback field, but it just still might be annoying for some users because of its size. On the other hand, SandGrid uses a hotspot tooltip combo, but it just might be a little too little and it might go overlooked. So what you need to be doing is to find out what works best for your product and do your in-app UX patterns in that way. Number 2 on our list is sharing with the right audiences. Now, all types of tools and all types of channels might require some external or internal new feature announcements as well. For example, some tools use extensions like Grammarly, Loom, and even UserGuiding, and it just might be to their best interest to be using only in-app patterns for their UX. So it's also important to share to your inactive users as well as churn users on social media maybe, and potential users also on social media and email channels to make sure that you bring all the potential of your new feature announcement out. Number 3 on our list is multi-channel announcements. Here's the thing, a new feature is always worth the best, so don't hesitate to go into all the social channels, as well as email channels, as well as your own product to start showing and promoting your new features, because it's just something that users want and they need to know about these new features to start using it. A good example I like to talk about, last year we launched our Zendesk integration, and it wasn't even a new feature, it was just an integration, but we shared it on our social media, on Twitter. We also shared a blog post about it, and we put some CDAs on our app to make sure that everyone knew about this new integration. And that's just what you need to do, because people are going to know about if your tool is going to integrate with Zendesk or not, and you have to show them that. While we're still talking about examples, let's talk about my personal top 3 new feature announcements that I love and my key takeaways from them. We're going to talk about 3 new feature announcements, email new feature announcements, social media new feature announcements, and in-app new feature announcements. Let's get right to it. When it comes to email new feature announcements, my absolute favorite is definitely ClickUp, because of 3 solid reasons. First of all, they have a dedicated email address just to announce their updates. Second of all, they put all the update insights in their subject line, which makes it even more valuable because I can just read it on my inbox. And the third reason is they actually do care about the copy. They put fun visuals in there, they put GIFs, they put different very nicely written copy in there, so I just personally love it. My key takeaway from this is, if a very big company like ClickUp can make time to just think and write about their new updates and have a dedicated email just for that, while also giving you digestible, fun, nice content, you should be doing that too. When it comes to in-app announcements, my absolute favorite is definitely Twitter. They just might be going through it with Elon Musk and all that now, but they were definitely big on their new feature announcements, especially in-app ones. So this is for 3 reasons. I love them for 3 solid reasons. First of all, they use really cool visuals in their distinct art style, which is very consistent throughout the app. Second, their copy kind of long, but they still use a very nice, fun, cool tone to write it so that I am engaged. And third, they use these cute little icons which really aid me in reading. And I just, like, without realizing it, I have read through this very long copy, and they just really know how to do all that. My personal key takeaway from this is that you can announce and educate your users about your new features all in one if you use relevant images, use little icons, maybe little elements to assist reading, and use a very cool content type and voice in doing so. And lastly, when it comes to social media announcements, I love YouTube, and especially how they use Twitter to announce their new features. I love it for 3 reasons again. First of all, they know how to format their content on Twitter, their tweets very well. They use a lot of spacing, they use a lot of emojis, which makes them engaging. Secondly, they know how to use their tweets in the realm of Twitter by pinning them, making sure it gets more exposure. And the third reason is that they use GIFs and useful images to make sure that users can know and educate themselves about these new features even while they're outside the app. So my key takeaway from YouTube is that you don't have to be inside your own app to be engaging while also being educational. So you can start doing that yourself too. Right way this, right way that. What is the right way for you to start announcing your new features the right way? So first of all, number 1 is knowing your product. It all depends on your product, the way you format, the way you style, the voice of the copy of the new feature announcement, the channel, the medium, everything depends on your product in the end. Because let's take a look at the example. Maybe for example, if you are a product with a little following on social media, you cannot be using social media announcements. Or if your email list is very little right now, it just might not work for you. Or if you, as we talked about before, are a product with a Chrome extension, maybe like Grammarly, you might need to use external announcements. For example, again, like Grammarly, they use this new feature announcements completely outside of the product to make sure every user sees them. And this is something we all should be worrying about first and foremost. What is the medium that all of my users and potential users and churn users are going to be engaging with this new feature announcement? Of course, knowing your product is important, but what's also important to do the rest of the research, the actual research in fact, because you cannot discover who your user persona is, who follows you on the social channels, what social channels you can use, what brand voice you use. All that you need to be checking out before creating your new feature announcement. So it doesn't end at products, but you need further research as well. Number 3 is using your right products, and I bet that you use a lot of products, like for analytics Mixpanel, for emailing MailChimp, for marketing HubSpot. There are a lot of tools out there. So let me just tell you a story. Before User Guiding, I had a different SaaS tool experience where we needed to create some promotional stuff, some new feature announcements as well, and we needed to code them for them to appear in-app. And it kind of took, I don't know, days, just one in-app announcement. And I was very much convinced that it was doomed to take so long and that it needed to be coded and maintained. Up until I ended up in User Guiding, which taught me that you didn't have to work all that. You can actually create new feature announcements in a matter of 5 minutes. In fact, I created this in a matter of 4 minutes using User Guiding. So if you want to try it out, you can find a link in the description. Number 4 is launching on the right channels at the right time. Now, we've already talked about how much the right channel for announcements matter, but also launching at the right time matters a lot too. For example, you might be launching a lot of different new features at a time. This just might make people frustrated, and you just might not want to show all of that to all of your users. So instead, maybe you can try contextual new feature announcements like Amplitude does it. I think it's very cool. Moreover, you might want to think about just how the feature announcement is going to look and all the medium of it. Like, is it going to be a video? Is it going to be a GIF? Is it just going to be static copy? You might want to plan all that beforehand to make sure all runs smoothly. Lastly, you want to analyze and document your new feature announcements, because you want to know all that for the future. Like any growing and prospering product, you're going to be having a lot more new features, possibly. So what you want to do is definitely document it. And whatever tool, whatever product you are, there are 3 questions that are probably applicable to anyone you should ask yourselves when documenting and analyzing those. First, was my new feature announcement well written, and was it well formatted? Second, did I share them on the right channels at the right time? And lastly, did my current and prospective users respond well to those? Ask yourselves these 3 questions and you're going to be okay for your next new feature announcements. So to wrap up, let me just say, a lot of businesses take new feature announcements very lightly, but if you're a business that care about retention rates, user engagement rates, adoption rates, I know that you're going to take this seriously. And I know that you're going to work prospectively with your teams to create your perfect new feature announcement strategy, and you're going to rock your next new feature announcements. Best of luck in advance. This was Sarah from User Guiding. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell, and see you another time.